and welcome to another episode of Funny Talk with Mongelli and Max. I'm Tom Mongelli, and this is my co-host, Doug Max. Say hi, Doug.
Hi, Doug. Oh,
And
Tom.
this,
I'm old.
what's the matter?
Nothing. Well, there's
Oh,
plenty the matter, but can we get into an ordinary introduction first?
yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to mention that this is the closest thing to entertainment you'll get, at least on this show. And our show is actually we brand our humor. I can't believe it's not comedy. We're the margarine of comedy, and we want to welcome you, and we want to welcome our guest, Kayt Hester. Hi, Kate.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Going well. Glad
Good.
you can make it tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being had. And on that note, I just want to mention our sponsor before we forget. Doug, why don't you take that while you're drinking?
Yeah, I'm drinking. Can I? So our sponsor, Hiccup, is J. Irwin Productions, who produces comedy shows all around the New York, New Jersey area. If you want a comedian for a fundraiser, you're some sort of freak and have a lot of money and want a comedian to come and perform for you in your basement, whatever. And now during COVID times, comedians are available for cheap. So you need your bathroom cleaned, $10. I'll get you somebody to come and do 2 hours. They'd be doing it anyway. They'd be driving an hour to a gig to do 10 minutes, make no money, drive back, pay the turnpike, lose money. They'd be grateful to clean your bathroom. $10, I guarantee you. Write to jack@jirwinproductions.com.
And that's it. So, Kate, I just wanted to mention you are a Renaissance woman, right? You're an artist. You're a comic. You're an excellent writer. Tell us more. Tell us more about. We want to know everything about you.
Well, I was an artist first. I mean, I've always been like a funny person. You know, always in school, always won class comedian and all that stuff. And my dad was very funny, and I quickly learned that was a good way to diffuse situations. And like to also get out of trouble, you know, is if you can make whoever is in charge laugh, then you're good to go. So I learned that very early on. And then, I went to art school. I went to FIT. For many years, I was a photographer in the fashion industry. That was like my main thing. And then I got super burnt out. I was like, I don't want to touch another camera ever again. The fashion industry is so soul sucking, you know, like totally bleeds you dry of every good thing you have. So I got out of that. I sold all my photo equipment, and then I got into like fine arts because I like kind of almost double majored in photography and fine art. And I started doing this stuff with black tape. I've got like these just rolls of black tape. I rip it up, and then I like make images out of it. You can see there in the background. Yeah. And
That's very impressive.
Thank you. And I just became very successful at that. I started making money. Once I started making money with it, that was it. So I've been doing that for like 17 years. And then just mixed with day jobs, like random day jobs. And finally, about a year ago, I finally got a decent job. I work for the state now, doing pedestrian safety education, which is fun. I teach people how to cross the street. And, we do like traffic studies and stuff like that. So that's interesting. You know, I got thrown into that. I have no background in it, you know.
Now, are you old enough to remember the cross at the green, not in between commercials of the 70s?
Yes. Not from the 70s. I remember the slogan, but, I was born in the 70s, but I don't remember the 70s.
Okay.
Yeah. I was born in the 50s, but don't remember the 70s.
Yeah.
A totally different reason.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The reason you're on the show, we might as well tell you, we've been inviting our friend comedians that we've known. Tom and I have been doing comedy for 8 or 9 years, something like that, all around the area. And we go back together. And we've been doing interviews with friends of ours. Our friends, they're horrible, horrible people. They do the shows are horrible with them. Tom said, Doug, we've been doing this with all our friends. How about we do it with somebody we don't know? I did
Yeah.
this show with this woman who was very funny a year ago, blah, blah, blah. And that's how it came to be that we asked you to be on our show.
All right, cool. Yeah, I was downstairs. I was like, I got to go upstairs and do this podcast. My partner was like, who is it? And I was like, these guys. And he was like, what are you going to talk about? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know either, but I thoroughly investigated you on Facebook, and I've learned that you bill yourself as a cat attorney. So I wanted to ask you, were you involved in the Mittens case 2015, where Mittens was accused of eating 14 mice and 3 rabbits? You involved? I think that was the most famous cat murder case in my lifetime.
Now, Mittens comes from money. So he had money for a really good, I'm more of a cat public defender.
Okay.
So Mittens definitely, he went to his parents and was like, I'm in trouble. And they got him the best attorney. I'm more of like a public defender that shows up with the papers hanging out of the briefcase,
But seriously, had you ever gone to law school?
No. What that means, I've worked in cat rescue for many years. I'm semi-retired, though sometimes I'm a consultant, but that's another thing that drains, any type of animal rescue drains you of all hope in life. It's, you see the worst of humanity in animal rescue. So I have, whenever I'm a stray cat advocate, a feral cat advocate, so I do a lot of cat lawyering when people are like, I want these cats out of my neighborhood. I want them all put down. Like, me and my friends got to show up and be like, no, they were here before you, and not going to go anywhere.
Anyway. And you're like, shut up, I'm trying to get you off.
I'm constantly being a lawyer for cats. I have my own little crew in my backyard. My neighbors are not happy, and I'm constantly like, here's my card, here's my email, here's my phone number. If they fuck something up, I will replace it. I'll buy a new one for you, blah, blah, blah. My own cat is getting in trouble right now. Here's my own cat, Harold.
I was going to ask.
Hi, Harold.
Yeah, he knows, he's very smart. He knows that when I'm sitting here talking, that he's not getting attention. So he starts messing things up to get attention.
Now, I have a cat also.
Hey, Griffin,
Mind if I bring him on the camera?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Of course.
This is my cat.
that's
I actually do have a cat. He's around here somewhere. His name is Joey Bag of Donuts. Joey Bag of Donuts is his name.
Oh, wait, Joey Bag of Donuts?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, he was a rescue.
Nice eagle. Yeah, the rescue's the way to go. Rescue's the way to go. The one day I would like to buy one of those fancy cats, but I've earned it. I've earned it.
I love cats, and I'm OCD. So I haven't had a cat in a long time. This is my girlfriend's beagle, Griffin, who's
What?
it's not the brightest animal on earth.
Oh.
Yeah, but you're the one lowering your voice thinking he can understand you.
It's not him.
Yeah. It's you want to stay out of the doghouse. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. One of my best friends growing up was my neighbor's beagle. I love that dog.
Yeah.
It was the 80s, so people kept the dogs outside all the time. He had a little doghouse.
I used to have a beagle growing up. All it did was eat. It even ate fish food, and one time it ate Comet Cleanser. And that's what led me to the conclusion that the beagle is not the smartest animal on. But it's all by the nose.
But it is the cleanest.
Yeah. Because
cats are cleaner.
How did that end well? How did your dog eating cleaner? How did that end well? That couldn't have
I
ended.
get it. I'm sorry, Tom. I get it.
Okay. I'm used to it by now.
I'm sorry. No, I don't know what I'm sorry. Let's start the show over again. Do you all remember what you said? And all get it. Okay? Let me write a note. Comet Cleanser, joke, clean. Okay. I'm ready.
No, what's happening?
I don't know.
And welcome to Funny Talk with Manjoli and Max.
What's happening?
Now, I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
How did you get the nickname Seatown Hot Dog?
Oh, I just came up with that. That's not a nickname.
I know.
I
I
just
thought
wrote
that
that
was so-
yesterday.
I thought that was so funny.
I didn't, what was it from?
It was, well, I always like to think of us all as various types of food. When the aliens invade us from space,
Yes,
when the aliens from outer space come, we're all going to be categorized into different types of food,
yes.
you know?
Yeah.
So I like to try to take care of myself so that I can be sold at like Whole Foods, you know? Like I'm gonna be the fancy food. I want to be the fancy meat. I want to have good cuts of meat. Like I want to be
But
high
what was
quality
it?
food. So, but I found out yesterday that I got like this stupid heart problem. So it turns out that I'm not going to be fancy food from Whole Foods. I'm only going to be a package of hot dogs at the Seatown, you know, because I'm now bad meat, you know.
Oh,
So, but I take stressful situations and I make them funny for myself so that I don't have a meltdown. Even though I usually have like 2 pretty good meltdowns a year, but the rest of the time I try to just write jokes about it. And that's,
you know. And listen, I hope everything goes okay with your heart, but if it doesn't,
it's nothing. It's really nothing. I really think that it's the cardiologist bleeding my insurance for all it's worth.
fucking assholes. Can I tell you something? I offer surgery for $129. You go to this cardiologist for like a real operation. I guarantee you, even, thank you, Tom. Even I do the same thing, but I do it one more time to get the Jewish star in, you know? Put it that way. And listen, Kate, in my defense, I've got really steady hands. I'm really clean. I'm really good working on cars, so I'm good at following DIY videos.
Okay.
So if there's something online about whatever you might need for your heart, and you got somebody that can stand the sight of blood standing by my side, because I won't be able to open my eyes. But I can do either the work itself or whatever is required.
All right. You know, just an ironing board and a bare light bulb hanging above. Yeah.
Hey, forget about Doug. I opened up a discount surgical center called Suit Yourself.
Bam. Excellent.
So, Kate, I've never seen you perform comedy, and I admit I did not look to see any of your videos of your stand-up. Do you have a standard opening?
I do.
Do you remember it? It's been so long.
Do you hear that?
No.
Oh, it sounds like my upstairs neighbor's using a sander or something, as long as you guys can't hear it. Sorry. Suddenly there's like this thing. My standard opening. Well, right now I've got like my standard COVID opening, which is, you know, I immediately just start talking about being locked up with my boyfriend this whole time, you know. My comedy is, it's like, I don't do crowd work yet. I'm not comfortable with crowd work because God forbid you pick the wrong person. They eat up your whole set. I've seen it happen. I had this great show. I'm not going to mention her name, but she's amazing. She's excellent. She's like Netflix special type, big name. And she decided to pick the wrong person, and this like redneck, and he ate her whole set. And so I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm just not good at crowd work. I'm just not there yet. You know, I'm about 2 years in.
How long have you been doing stand-up?
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I do is I'm more of like a comedic, I like to call it like a comedic monologue. I write my set, I've memorized it, I go up there, I do it. Sometimes I'll go off script a little bit, but I always feel like that never ends well, you know? Or sometimes some dude, because, you know, I've got a lot of blowjob jokes. So there's always some guy in the audience that's like, hey, come over here, you know? Which, yes, I'm kind of not to victim blame myself, but, you know, you're asking for it. When you're talking to a crowd of people that have been drinking and the lights are low and everyone's in the mood to have a good time, there's always going to be the guy that has to join in on your blowjob jokes. He's always going to be like, yeah, lady, when you're after the show, call me, yeah. So you got to address that guy, you know?
Yeah, Doug gets that all the time.
Yeah. So yeah, my set is really, I memorize it and I stick to it. I've been going a little more off the cuff lately, but that's new for me. So like tomorrow I have a show and a live show on a rooftop, and I'm gonna do some new stuff that's a little more loose. That I don't have it written down word for word, and I don't have it memorized word for word. So the openers lately are like, hey, the virus, what are you gonna do? That type of thing. I mean, it makes me sound stupid and contrived, but what else are we talking about right now? Life isn't happening. Yeah.
That sounds like my opening. Hey, the virus, what are you gonna do? Hey.
Yeah. So before the virus, I would start off with, let me tell you guys about my childhood, and then I'd go into my nutty parents and that type of thing.
So you'll build up. And what was I going to say? So one, do you have bomb lines?
Do I have bomb lines?
Bomb lines. When you say something that's you intend to be funny, and unfortunately you delivered it in a way that you kind of signaled to everyone that you intended it to be funny, but nobody thought it was funny?
No, like, do I have jokes that don't land?
No, I'm saying when your jokes, you're always.
Oh, no, when my jokes don't land, I usually am just like, okay, let's move on. I'm moving on then. Yeah, that's probably it. Like, all right, moving on.
I'm not a professional comedian, although I have been a corporate trainer for all my life. So I'm used to telling people what to do. But you will find that when you've not gotten a laugh, or as big as you thought, or not from as many people, what was I going to say? That you can get a bigger laugh by how you respond to it. So, Johnny Carson was famous for his bomb lines for messing up jokes were better than his jokes themselves. Who else? Oh, Uncle Floyd. What's one of his Tom? Okay, take the jokes you like. I've got plenty more. Something like that. Anyway, something for my entire set is bomb lines.
Oh. No, I don't have any bomb lines. I'm usually just either like, okay then, or all right, moving along, or all right, whatever,
You can do something natural that will get a response as you're apologizing for the joke that didn't hit, and you can use that. I once said, one of my bomb lines is, okay, well, I thought that was funny. And it's always true, and it's sincere. And the first time I said it, it got a better response than whatever I had said before.
Yeah. So, I know. I've seen a ton of guys be like, fuck you, that's funny. And it's like, it's not. They didn't laugh. No, but I get it. Sometimes, it's weird how before the shutdown, I would have like a show almost every night of the week. And it's so weird how one night a joke kills and the next night you get crickets. And it's like, I didn't change anything. Like, why? Was it the moon? Is it the star, the alignment of the stars? Who knows?
No, I have one joke that I do that gets like this guttural moan from the whole audience. Like they go from liking me to disliking me in a split second. So I usually lean forward into the mic, look to the right or to the left, and say, okay, start the car.
That's a good one. That's good. So yeah, I have a rooftop show tomorrow, and that'll be fun. I'm a little out of practice, but I'll practice tomorrow morning.
Now, Kate, weren't you just recently in a big festival?
Yes, I was in the Boston Comedy Festival.
Nice.
Tell us about that.
It was fun. It's on Zoom. I would love to do a comedy festival, not on Zoom. I've done 3 so far, and they're fun. I don't have a problem with Zoom comedy. A lot of comics seem to be repulsed by them. Maybe it's because I'm newish. Maybe it's because I'm like 2 years in and I'm easier. Look, of course being on stage is better. It's better. Of course it is. I mean, come on, but this is what we have right now. And of course it's not the same. Of course the silence sucks. Everyone stays on mute, or people are just like watching you the way they watch TV, where they're laughing on the inside of their head and they're not laughing out loud or whatever. I don't know. But it's better than nothing. And also you're meeting other comics, you're meeting other producers. So when the world reopens again, you're in their brains. Now they can be like, oh, that girl I met on that Zoom show, she's funny. Let's book her for the spot in the bar, the spot in the club. Like, it's like, okay, guy, you're too good to do Zoom. Like, what are you sitting there on the couch with your hand down your pants? Like, it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. At least I'm doing comedy.
How did you know? Never mind.
Because I live with one. I see with my face eyes. Yeah. I see what happens. I know what happens. I know what you do.
Listen, you sit off at the waistband because it feels comfortable. And next thing you know, hey, Ann, what are you? Okay, we only have like 40 minutes more to kill. So.
Oh, look, we're having a cat chat. Now it's turned into a cat podcast.
Yeah,
Oh,
really. How cute. Now, do you have nicknames for your cat? Or
Oh,
pet
he's got a
names?
million nicknames.
I know, right?
Yeah, his full name is Harold Archimedes, but we call him Harry. But his main nicknames are the Bud, the Booger, or the Kraken. He answers to the Kraken is his other name.
Okay.
Because when he was younger, he would destroy the house when we were not home because he's a devil monkey. He's a total devil monkey. He's insane. He opens cabinets and drawers and empties them. He turns on faucets. He's a madman. So we used to have to lock him in the bathroom. I'd put his litter box and food and a bed and toys, and we have a big bathroom, so it wasn't like cruel. You know, our bathroom here in Jersey City is the size of most New York City bedrooms, you know.
Oh, wow.
So when we'd get home from work, we'd be like, go release the Kraken, you know. The nickname stuck. So Kraken ass Kraken, we call him a lot. But mostly, I call him Bud most of the time. Like, come on, Bud, Mom's Bud.
Now, Joey Bag of Donuts is also JoJo, Joseph, and he goes by Monkey Boy.
Oh, Monkey Boy. Oh,
Yeah,
he's a
because he's got this tail that he'll just like wrap it around my arm and just like hold himself steady.
Oh, he loves his papa.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. It always goes back to cats with me. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I love cats, except I don't like hair. I'm OCD.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
My girlfriend left her beagle with me for like a week.
Oh.
And the hair, it was like a whole week. And I had to walk it, and the hair was just getting all over the house.
Yeah, it gets everywhere.
So I shaved the dog. I thought a week, it was really short hair. I thought it's going to grow back. I'm thinking of like a dog spray, a dog hair spray. But whenever I think of any ideas like that, I always think of my Shark Tank pitch.
Oh. Well, you put a spoonful of salmon oil in their food, and it really cuts down on the shedding.
What kind of oil?
Salmon.
Oh, salmon oil.
Yeah, I ran a pet supply store for like 7 years.
Oh, wow.
Not another oil?
Fish oil. Salmon oil is the best one. Yeah, it's salmon oil.
Oh, I happen to have fish oil pills. Can they be?
That I don't know. Interesting. But this stuff is like you put on a spoon. They love it. It stinks. They love it. It's really good for their coat. Anyway, you want to get back to comedy?
Yeah, let's get back to comedy.
We're losing viewers. We're losing viewers.
Hey,
can I
I'm
get
sorry, Doug.
to give? Can I get my girlfriend to give Griffin the fish oil as a? I can't say it on air. Suppository.
Oh no.
I said it on air.
I've been swearing this whole time. I'm sorry. You don't want to say suppository, and I'm dropping F-bombs. Like, I'm sorry. You should have told me. It's just like...
That's fine.
I'm New Jersey white trash. Yeah.
I come from another world.
Sorry. You should have told me not to swear. I'm sorry.
Kayt, did you grow up in Jersey City?
No, I was born here, but then I grew up in Flemington.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And then I moved back here in 2002. So I've been here ever since, yeah. I love it here. I love Jersey City.
Do you?
Yeah, I mean, Flemington's great too. I just can't afford a car and a house, and I just love it here. Yeah. Yeah, it's a
Well,
great little
I
city.
remember when after my divorce, I was looking for places and I wanted to get a place close to New York that I could afford. And I was looking in West New York because they were going to do the Formula One race there.
Oh.
I've been a follower of my entire life. But there were no places, no places with garages. It was all
Yeah.
on-street parking. I've done comedy shows in Hoboken. Parking is impossible.
Nope, you got to take the train. There's no parking.
But I used to take my son to Jersey City all the time for skateboarding. We used to go under exit 14B on the turnpike.
Yeah.
There's a black place called the Foundation
Mm-hmm.
that the kids kind of brought bags of concrete and built the skateboarding park.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. Where do you?
Jersey City's come a long way over the last 20 years.
Yeah, it has. It really has.
Yeah.
It really has. Yeah.
My whole family comes from Hoboken.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I lived in Union City in the 60s until they found out we weren't Cuban, then we had to move.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Where are you?
Tom said you reminded him of a comedian we had on the show before, a woman by the name of Liz Larkin, who actually is an alien.
Oh, from outer space?
Yes.
From outer space.
All right. Well, tell her when she's ready for Seatown hot dogs that I'll be ready for packaging. Yeah. Low quality, bad meat.
So do you think if there were aliens coming to our world that they would be interested in a food source?
Yeah, I think we'd be toast. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't think they go all this way? It would be of interest. They'd want to meet us.
Maybe. But I think
what's going on?
if they have the technology to get here,
Yeah.
I think that they're going to be so 10 million times smarter than us that we're going to be like smart dogs to them. Yeah. And
Right.
we're going to be just
because
slaves or pets or entertainment or food. Yeah.
No, because they will know where we are technologically, and they will know where we are relative to them, and they will see us as their babies, as cute, adorable things, and they'll just be here checking us out, making sure everything's okay. Did you ever see the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still?
I think so.
Not the sucky one with Keanu Reeves, the original one.
The original one.
Right?
I think I did like when I was a little kid. I watched it. That's Orson Welles, right?
No, that was
That was a radio show. Yeah.
Well, no. That was not the movie. That was Tom Cruise was the movie War of the Worlds. There was an original older one.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I don't remember it.
Yeah. Okay.
But I know of it. Yeah, I remember I know the visuals of it and the premise and all that, but I don't remember.
The important thing is that we did 2 minutes on it. So we're getting to our goal.
No, I always think of that Twilight Zone episode, To Serve Man.
Yeah, To Serve Man. Yeah.
It's a cookbook.
It's a cookbook. Ah!
I think to the aliens, I'd be an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Yeah.
That's why I keep on telling Tom not to accept those comedy gigs in Ethiopia. Ethiopians love Tom, and they keep on inviting him through a gig salad to go and do gigs in Ethiopia. I'm like, they don't want to see you do comedy. They want to see you do a roast.
They want me to be the roast. But anyway.
Okay. So
I do a lot of fat jokes in my act.
Why is that, Tom?
Because I beat anorexia, damn it.
Anorexia. Tom, you should get a shirt that says anorexia survivor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been gaining weight ever since the operation. I was cesarean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, that was one of his jokes.
That's good. That's good.
Now
Yeah,
the joke that I do that everybody hates is that I say that I've been big my whole life, but when my mother died, I gained over 100 pounds. I didn't think she'd be that stringy.
There's
Yeah.
a joke you do that I hate.
Which one?
Your cat is passive aggressive.
Oh yeah, my cat. If I don't show him enough attention, I'll come home and find out he puked in my shoe. Well, I'm running out of shoes, so I got even. When he wasn't looking, I took a dump in his litter box. The poor bastard thinks he has colon cancer. This was like 2 weeks ago. He's still trying to bury it. So,
Gross.
so Doug doesn't like that kind of humor.
But as long as we're telling animal stories.
God. Doug is famous for his animal stories.
Oh, good.
You know something? I was about 2 years, not even maybe a year into comedy, and I was at a place where I started to want to put comedy together as a theme, and I was watching National Geographic on TV, and I saw an episode where they were studying male elephants' fertility, and in order to do that, they needed to get their sperm, and they panned to this female biologist who donned these latex gloves up to her elbow. They had darted the elephant, put it to sleep from a helicopter. This woman runs out with these gloves on to pleasure the elephant because they had to see whether or not the stuff that they were giving it to reduce the population of elephants was working.
Wow.
And they panned
quite a job.
And this woman had this look of, I'm coming up, I can't come up with a comedy. Glee was one of the things that she had, but it was National Geographic, and I'm watching this on TV thinking there are kids watching this woman pleasure this elephant, and then I'm thinking, not only that, this elephant can perform when it's knocked out. Anyway, it was that story that made me realize I had a trio of basically bestiality stories.
All right, now I don't feel so bad about dropping F-bombs.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like there's an easier way to go about that. Like, can't they just like get it like a needle? And anyway, let's not get let's not go further into
this. In the beginning of it, they had chained up the elephant so everybody was safe, and they showed it elephant pornography.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Revealing photos of female elephants, and it didn't do anything for the elephant.
Yeah.
It was knocking it out, and it was National Geographic, and people.
National Geographic shows some, wild stuff. No pun intended. But yeah, no, that. Have you ever watched that show, Dr. Pol, The Amazing Dr. Pol? Ugh, I watched it once, never again. The stuff I saw on there. This cow was having trouble giving birth, and he too had to go diving in, and they anyway, let's change the subject. It was disgusting. I was screaming. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
So I've got another story called The Masturbating Chimpanzee. Does that change? We can go to primates now. No.
Whatever makes you happy. It's your podcast.
I'll tell you, hearing that story the first time, I loved hearing that story. I passed it on as my gift to my comedy audiences. They don't always appreciate it.
Oh, okay.
I don't tell that story a lot.
So, Kate, I'm curious. What comedians do you find funny? You know, who are your inspirations?
Well, I mean, growing up, I was all about Letterman, all about David Letterman. And, my dad would listen to comedy records. Like, we would just sit around the record player and listen. So, it was a lot of George Carlin. And my dad would always be like, because my mom was an addict. So she was always unconscious. So we got to listen to whatever. She was super strict, like no swearing, no anything. So as soon as she passed out, like the George Carlin records would come out, you know, I'd actually be pouring her wine, like, here you go, Mom. Here, take a pill. Here's your wine. We're going to go listen to George Carlin and Richard Pryor records, you know. So we would listen to all that stuff. And Bill Cosby, that was growing up, you know, back before
Right.
Bill Cosby was like one of the most heinous human beings alive.
Yeah.
Like, who
Really?
knew, you know? My dad would also read Gene Shepherd books to us out loud.
All right.
You know, like Wanda Hickey's Night of Golden Memories was great. He would read that to us all the time, and that was hilarious. And so, but then now, modern times now, I really love like Tom Segura and his wife Christina P. are two of my absolute favorites. I love Michelle Wolf. She's amazing. You know, there's so many now that there's like Netflix and all that stuff. There's so many, it's actually hard to keep up. And now that there's so many, you can get 10 minutes in and be like, yeah, I don't like this, and just go to the next one and whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there's a lot of really good comics that are up and coming, you know, like who aren't there yet, who I love to see just out and about at the shows that I'm doing, you know.
Yeah. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad to see veteran comics that have been doing it for like 20, 30 years that never really seem to grasp any kind of notoriety. And they really deserve it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's true in any field, you know? That's
And
true.
then the ones that have notoriety that deserve none of it. You know, the comics that think that getting a groan is the same as getting a laugh, or comics like me that think silence is the same as getting a laugh. I'm talking here.
Doug is a unique comedian. He doesn't believe in punchlines.
Okay.
He's allergic to punchlines, so he kind of like leaves it up to the audience.
No, you know, I fake the audience out because I begin with a great line that actually has a punchline. I had to go through a procedure so I could have sex again. Divorce. That's a punchline. And then the audience, they think if they listen, they're going to get another one. You know, I can string them out for like 10 minutes and then my time is up and, you know, that's it. Yeah.
So now, Kate, you've been doing it for 2 years. How long can you go and be comfortable?
I don't know. That's the thing. I'm like, when I started it, I was like, okay, now what's your end game here? Like, what are we going towards? And then I was just, you know, that's what this side said. And then this side is like, let's just see what happens. Like, let's just see where it goes. I really don't I'm not like, I mean, yeah, there's certain venues where I'm like, oh my God, you know, I want to get in those places, you know, and it takes years to get some of these clubs. You know, it takes years. And then sometimes you never will.
Those venues you really want to get into, don't worry about them at all. Use the ones that you're comfortable in, that like you, where you can be you, and do stand up. And then when you go to those venues that you want to be in, you will be undeniable. So don't rush it. Because before your time. My fourth comedy show ever was Gotham. Jim Gaffigan was the surprise headliner. Fucking asshole. Stole my stuff, asshole. Jim, give me a call. You can make it. Anyway, it was way too soon. It was my fourth comedy show.
Wow.
One, really, back then, I did not believe in punchlines. I just went through and said, so I've got this premise, and what about this one? And what's about the story of Jesus? They did not like that. I talked a little bit about the Immaculate Conception. And then Peter Tosh ended up doing something very similar like that with it. Anyway, it was way too early for me. I was pissed off that material of mine was borrowed. Gaffigan, get your...
Borrowed. It's stolen. That happens all the time. That happened to me the other day. I put a joke on Twitter, and a comic who was a buddy of mine, like, took it and just slightly rewrote it. And it's like, that's still not yours. It's still not yours. You know,
Yeah.
just because you think it's better now, it doesn't make it yours. You know, like just, or at least wait a year. You know, it was
Yeah,
like
really.
it was within 2 hours. You know, like mine's not. It's still warm. You know, it's still warm. Wait, at least wait a year to like steal my premise. You know.
Yeah.
But anyway, right now, my act is mostly stories that I'm sad to say no comedian wants to steal for some reason. They don't want to be associated with that kind of comedy. But the kind of comedy many comics want to be associated with boggles my mind. I'm like, how is that fun? I don't understand a lot of it. I'm 64, so I come from another world of comedy back in the days when funny was fun. You know, and not poop.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I mean, you know, all the comedians who are like in their 20s now, they grew up with the internet. So it's like every dude, they talk about Pornhub.
In poop.
Pornhub. It's like it's like, all right, you know, like you would think that it's like after sitting through their own shows and listening to every guy before them and every guy after them talk about Pornhub, that they would go home and be like, I should write some jokes that don't involve Pornhub.
My favorite.
Nothing happened to come back the next week with the same fucking Pornhub jokes. It's like, okay, you know, and I mean, I'm not one to talk. I'm a female. I talk about female sex stuff and stuff like that. And there's been a lot more since the shutdown. I've been talking about sex a lot more because there's nothing else happening. There's no coworkers. There's no boss. There's no ride on the train. There's no life you can draw from happening right now. And
where do you
like,
go to get your sex stories?
Yeah. So, and I've discovered that everyone loves stories about bad sex because we all can relate to it. Everybody's had terrible sex. So I've had so much of it. I've had so much bad sex. So
now, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There's actually another kind.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm reaching into the vault to like the stories, like college stories, and then after college stories, and then the marriage stories, and after marriage stories, and you know, I'm not really allowed to talk about present day, but I sneak it in there somewhere.
I have a story about modern day sexual perversions. When I was married for 20 years, I didn't know what was going on outside in the world. When I started dating again and meeting these women online, I realized, man, people have picked up a lot of weird sexual perversions. I wrote an entire set about it. Not going to do it now, but I call it, That Doesn't Go There.
Well, people are allowed to do whatever they want as long as no one's getting hurt and everybody's having a good time, you know? And plus, again, these kids that grew up with the internet, they think certain things are normal, you know? And it's like, you know, and guess what? It's normal now. It wasn't when we were teenagers, but now it is. And that's what it is, you know, and it's like, you know, I don't want to be single again. It's like, no, like sitting around listening to like my 20-year-old friends talk about what they do. And it's just like, all right, I guess that's what they do now.
No, that's not normal. That doesn't go there.
It does if you want it to.
Yeah, really.
It's
Yeah. It does if it makes everybody happy. If everybody involved is happy, then that's fine. As long as there's no kids or animals and everyone's agreeing, then whatever goes. And that's perfectly fine, you know. Listen to us, we sound like a bunch of old fogies.
Yeah, well, besides you, that's a true statement.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
But no, I tore my ACL on the day Joe Biden was announced the winner. I was dancing in my kitchen and I twisted my knee and I tore my ACL and my meniscus. And it really hurt. Like I hit the floor, my ears were ringing. I was like, oh my God, I should go to the hospital. But I had to get to a show. I had to get to my boyfriend's show. So he's a musician, it's a music show. I got my ass up off the floor and I went. And I was like, okay, well, since I was able to go to this show, this is going to heal. I don't need to go to the doctor. It's going to heal. It never healed. It never healed. So finally, I got to the doctor like 2 weeks ago, and he did an MRI, and he was like, your body has absorbed your ACL and your meniscus. You don't even have them anymore. You ate them. Like, my body ate them.
Nice.
You know? So, but I've been having all this sex that whole time, you know, with no ACL and no meniscus. And I'm like, where's my trophy? Like, where's my trophy? Like, I won the champions, like the Olympics. Like, remember when the girl did with the injury? I've been doing all this stuff with this injured knee. I'm like, I want a medal. Where's my sex medal? You know? Anyway. Sorry, Doug.
$129 for an operation.
Yeah.
As operations go, it's very economical. Do you drink alcohol? Because you'll want to bring like a bottle of bourbon or something.
Okay. I actually just quit drinking.
Did you?
Yeah. It was just getting too out of hand.
You mean for the day? For the day?
Yeah, I wish.
I did. That was my bourbon and 7 for the day.
There you go. No, I'm taking painkillers for my knee, and I didn't take them today so that I can do this with you guys. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
What kind of painkillers were you taking?
Like, no opioids today. I have to be coherent. No, I wish it was that good. It's not that good.
I've got some morphine left over in my fridge. If it ever gets bad. Oh, I didn't realize I can do these surgeries and people don't have to self-anesthetize.
All right. Well, good thing you just told the internet that you got a fridge full of morphine.
Yeah, right.
I'm in pain, so I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to use it tonight. I'll put it in with my bottom round roast.
Yeah. No, I thought the painkillers were going to be way more fun. People are like destroying their lives over them. So when he's like, here's a giant prescription of opioids, I was like, yeah! I was so excited. So I went home and I took them and I was just like, this is it? Like, this is it? I didn't like it. I actually didn't like it. It made my eyeballs feel really sandy. And
after the show, get out on the streets of Jersey City, and as people walk by, you just say kind of quietly, painkiller, painkiller.
Yeah. Opioids. I got that opioids.
Yeah. Well, I was in the hospital last week.
Oh, yeah, that's right. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling a lot better, but when I was there, they had me on Percocet.
Yes.
And
that's good stuff.
yeah, I have sleep issues, and I didn't have any sleep issues.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, when I get my knee surgery, I'm gonna be like, bump me up to Percocets, like this Tylenol with codeine. That's kindergarten shit. I don't want that. Give me that Percocets, you know. But you feeling better? I'm sorry, I should have asked earlier in the show. I'm a monster.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I'm on the mend. You know, I'm not out of the woods completely, so.
Okay.
But feeling much better.
Good. I'm glad.
Thanks.
I'm glad too, Tom.
What does your hat say? I just noticed there's words on it. Funny talk. Oh, look at that.
That's the official show hat.
You got merch.
Yeah.
You got that merch.
Tom, we should start selling. Although we need a slogan. Funny Talk with Mangelli and Max is not going to sell hats.
Oh.
Emotional Moron might sell hats. Right?
The what?
Emotional Moron. We do ourselves as emotional morons because we're both emotional morons.
Pretty much.
Well, truth in advertising.
Now, Kayt, were you ever a teacher?
No.
Why did I don't know. I must have confused you with somebody else.
No, because I do presentations to schools.
Oh,
so
maybe that's it.
Yeah, that's probably it. Because I have a joke about because I teach pedestrian safety to kids.
Oh,
but I go from school to school to school. I'm not like a teacher, you know. I should actually be nowhere near allowed children.
Well, I was a teacher for a long time, and I don't know how I got away with it.
Right? So, but yeah, now I have a joke about how when I was a new comedian, I was up in front of an audience. Sometimes I'm doing like they'll get like pedestrian safety day over with in one bash. So they'll cram the whole Jersey City public school into the auditorium. And sometimes it's like 550 kids in there. And I'm like, oh my God, I wish this was like, I could do a set, you know, like this is a great audience. I got a packed house.
I know. That's the way I feel at wakes.
Yeah.
So listen,
Great audience here.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking about this a little bit more, and I don't want to insult you in your vocation, but when I was a kid growing up in the 60s, we did not have pedestrian education. We had to learn to do this.
You know why? It shows. It shows because the number one statistic of those who get hit by cars are grown-ass men. So you should have had pedestrian safety day because that's the biggest number of people who get hit by cars are full-grown men.
Excuse me, have you noticed how stupid our population in this country has become? Maybe culling the herd, letting nature take its course?
Yeah.
You know, requiring more people in New Jersey to buy Hummers so they can't see around the turn?
You
know what? I used to teach in Patterson, and one of my students was one of 13 kids in her family. And her father's job, this is what he did for a living, he used to jaywalk, walking into the traffic, purposely get hit by a car, and shake the person down for cash.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's hard work.
What?
I broke 3 ribs doing that job. I had to give it up.
There you go. But yeah, no, even with all the education that I do, people keep inventing new ways like to kill themselves. Like now we got those electric scooters and those electric bikes, and people are too cool to wear helmets. So the herd will still be thinned, no matter how hard I work at keeping it thick. People will still find a way to thin it, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of it has to, you made me think, a lot of it has to do with being cool. Because I'm thinking of my son's skateboarding. And after he started skateboarding a year and went to skate parks where all the kids that were good skaters never wore helmets, he thought it would show him up if he wore his helmet. So, you know.
Yeah.
He gave up wearing the helmet very soon.
It's a tricky situation, you know. There are, you know, like the way there's anti-maskers, there's anti-helmet people. Like I've received angry emails from anti-helmet people.
Yeah, but for a pedestrian, are there pedestrians that are like, hey, I'm walking across the turnpike. If they know what's best for them, they're going to stop for me.
Yeah. Well, it's like, it's funny because when you're a pedestrian, all the drivers are idiots. And when you're a driver, all the pedestrians are idiots.
Right.
And then you immediately switch roles when you get out of your car and you're walking to your destination. Now all the drivers are idiots and you're the smartest one. And then you get back in your car and all the pedestrians are idiots and you're the smartest one. It's a constant
driving in New York and I've got a green light and there's a pedestrian in front of me. You know what? Well,
what?
It just might not be their day.
It'll always be their day. The pedestrian is almost always right.
Now, what gets me are these motorcycle.
Your name.
Yeah.
These motorcycle people that'll weave in and out of the cars in bumper to bumper traffic and ride the line.
Go to Italy. Go to Italy and Rome. I drove in Rome.
I heard, yeah.
Two feet between cars, and there'll be the 50 scooters, you know, zooming. Yeah.
It's nutty. It's nutty. Everyone thinks they're invincible until they're not, you know?
Pretty much.
So have you lost, how many pedestrians' lives have you saved with your education?
Billions. Billions. The entire planet. Yeah.
Is there one thing
I don't know.
more than any? Like, look left, look right, look left again. Is that right?
Yep. Left, right, left.
Left, right, left.
Yep. But I tell them just to keep looking the whole way. I'm like, and just because you have the walk sign, you have to still keep looking the whole way. You know, because there's people plow through red lights all the time. People get hit every day. They get hit every day.
So
you know?
my degree is in psychology, and I'm aware of the normal distribution of intelligence. IQ is 100, average of 100, with a standard deviation of 15. So 50% of the country has an IQ even below our current president.
Wow. Yeah, no, people are dumb.
We know,
But-
and we're smart too. It's a range. It's a normal distribution. So you get, 5% of people who are geniuses and 5% are, oh my God, how stupid. You can't fathom how stupid some people, they're like smart orangutans. and they can reach stature in this country. They could become president.
You never know what's going on up there. I have this friend. It's a newish friend, a comedy friend, and they'll be so brilliantly smart, saying all this like really great stuff, amazing, hilarious stuff, and then it's almost like a glaze goes over, like they switch off, and it's just like, and it's like, then they just become a complete fucking idiot. And I'm like, how do you switch from being one of the most brilliant people I've ever met? It's almost like the brain shuts itself down to recharge it. Like this side, it's like, and then they'll say the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And I'm like, you were literally the smartest person I've ever met 30 seconds ago. And now it's like you're sitting there drooling.
Was this a male?
Yes, it was a male. It's mostly males. It's hard there's not a lot of females out there in comedy. When you find a fellow comedian, female comedian, I hold on to them like, be my friend.
I get that a lot.
Please be my friend.
Strangers come up to me and go, you look really smart. I'm like, oh yeah? Then why did I pour flaming gasoline around myself on a driveway to debilitate my legs? Why did I do that? Yeah.
What?
That got weird fast.
Yeah. Welcome to Doug Max.
I tell you that story?
No.
My son was like 10 years old. He and his friend were skateboarding on our driveway. I made a little skateboard park for them. There was a little pothole in the driveway, maybe a ½ an inch deep and 4 inches wide. The day before, my son had showed me a video of a skateboarder going over a ramp, and when he went over the ramp, flames exploded around him, and he thought it was so cool. So I drive home, and my son and his friend are skateboarding, and my friend's son is videotaping. And I had just come back from getting a gallon of gasoline for the lawnmower. And I don't know what occurred to me, but the ramp was near this little pothole on the driveway. I said, Em, how would you like to jump through flames? He goes, really? I go, yeah. So I put a little gasoline in the...
What a dad.
Of the year.
I did it. And the flames went up about a foot, and he went up on the ramp, and he goes, that's great. I go, you want to do it again? He goes, yeah. The flames had died down a little bit. They were still there. So the next scene is me with this gallon of gasoline thinking, I'm going to splash the gasoline onto what's already burning, and it's going to get a little bit bigger. What happened, you ever see the end of Die Hard, where he lit that strip of fuel and it followed the plane up into the air? So what happens when you spill gasoline on burning gasoline? It backed up, and now I'm holding a fresh, it was 2.5 gallon tank of gasoline with flames coming out of the nozzle.
Oh my God.
And I start trying to splash the gas out to put it out. What I did was leave pools of fire around me. And I'm thinking, this is going to explode. And I look at my son and I'm like, I got to get it away from him. And I look at his friend, I'm like, fuck, I got to get away from him too. Meanwhile, I actually noticed that my son's friend stopped videotaping. Like, you stopped videotaping this?
Wait, is this your son, Dyfus?
Tom, the entire driveway was filled with flames. I'm running around. I had to run back to hook up the hose and put it out. And like 2 years later, my legs don't have hair on them.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, no. Yeah, I learned that when I was a kid. We had one of those charcoal grills, and my father would light it regularly, like throw the match in, and then he'd fill a paper cup and stand like 12. He'd have us all come out to watch. He'd like, everyone come out and watch. And he'd throw this cup of gasoline onto it from like 12 feet away and be like,
And
burn all the leaves off the tree above.
Eyebrows anymore. Anyway, I've been thinking of opening up a spa based on what I've learned for I guess mostly women who want depilatation.
What, with fire and gasoline because you burned all the hair off your legs?
You can advertise that, but they're coming for the result, right?
For the bikini area, yeah, I totally want flames near that area.
And can I tell you,
Up the bikini area, yeah.
Kate, the secret is to run through quickly so it gets the hair, but it doesn't. I've had no burns, and my spa, I would be supervising the run through. None of this like fire walk over coal, big deal.
Go, 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 go.
I've been working. I need a name for it.
Sparky. How about Sparky's? Doug's Flamin' Hot waxing service, not without the wax. This time without the wax. That's funny. That's a funny concept.
Doug's no hair. I think we'll call it that. Doug's no hair. And then I can do a hello sharks. Hi.
Toasty.
Doug, you have to promise me that you're going to leave your brain to science.
Okay, Tom. Thank you. I never seen one of these. I never saw something like that before. Hey, is that green? What's that doing in there? I wonder what they would find, Tom. They'd find a ping pong ball, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? I once again, I don't know what's happening.
There's a lot of that going around.
I follow the best I can,
That's right.
Something? You did really well, Kate. We've blown an entire hour.
All right.
I don't think we had more than 20 or 30 lulls, right? Kept our audience member entertained, right, Kathy? You like the show? You let us know.
Yeah, no, it was fun. Time did fly. Time flew by.
Well, listen, I'm so glad that you came on the show. I've liked you since the day we met.
Yay, same here. Thank you so much.
And I think you deserve anything that's coming your way in comedy. You're the real thing. Let me put it that way.
Thank you.
I swear, first of all, to find a woman comic, and this is like totally prejudice on my part, but
be careful.
to find a funny female comic, far between. You make it look natural. You make it look like you've been doing it for a lot longer than you have.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me.
Yeah. Keep on trucking.
I'm gonna keep on going as long as I can and see where this takes me.
Yeah.
So, but I really appreciate it. It was so fun hanging out with you guys.
Look how far it's taken you already. You made it to our show.
I know, right? Here comes next stop is Netflix, Saw you on Tom and Doug.
Tom, how are we going to figure out how to get another guest that neither of us know? How are we going to?
We'll worry about that later. I just want to mention again our sponsor, Jack at jirwinproductions.com. If you're putting together a comedy show, contact Jack. He knows all the comics. He's great to work with, and you'll be hiring him a second time real soon. So contact him at jack@jirwinproductions.com.
And again, Kayt Hester, look for her Kayt.
Yeah, you didn't make fun of the spelling of my name.
When Tom said, Kayt Hester is really funny, I'm like, Kate? He's like, no, Kayt. I'm like, Tom, you know how much I value my spelling.
It's the stupidest spelling ever.
How did it happen? Was it you? Did you pick your own name or drugs and your parents? And
No, it is. I did it when I was a kid to set myself apart from this other Katie. And I wanted to be artsy and different, and it just stuck. It
Everything
stuck.
else, that Kate was a bitch. It's good you separated yourself from her.
Yeah, she stole my glory from an art competition. This is the real story. All right, here we go. I know you're trying to wrap it up, but I won it was like the 1987 Channel 13 Youth Art Contest by PBS. Like, it was a big deal, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And the town newspaper did a story on me. And instead of saying Kayt Hester, they said Katie Pellegrino. And they did the other Katie. And my father's a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist. He was like, who didn't even check this name? We can't even hang this on the fridge now. And I was just like, my heart, like, it can't even go on the fridge. What was the point of winning? Yeah. So I'm like, I'm changing the spelling of my name, and no one will ever mix me up with that fucking bitch again. So I changed the spelling, and it stuck. Like, everyone loved the fact that my name was different, that they could differentiate us. And when I would hit my 20s, I was like, I'm going to go back to Kate, and it didn't. People were like, who the hell's this? And I tried, it didn't stick. So now even on a flyer, like, if a producer does Kate Hester, I don't even correct them. I'm like, I'm not going to be that asshole. I'm just going to leave it. It's so stupid. I wish I never did it, but what are you going to do?
Even a dumb MC can get that name pronunciation right. My name is very easy. I'm glad I don't have a difficult name. I'm really glad you shared that story with us.
That's how the name came about. There's other Kates out there. If you Google Kayt, there's a whole slew. So I don't know how they got their name, but I got mine because of the Channel 13 Youth Art Contest.
And can I tell you something? And this comes from the heart. As soon as the show is over and we close off, I'm writing a letter to Katie Pellegrino and telling her she came under false purpose.
She's not on Facebook. I looked her up. If I had any, she must have a new last name now. Yeah.
So forget you, Katie Pellegrino. You and Gerald Benford, never coming on her show. Never.
Yeah, never. No, she was always one of those kids that would always cry all the time.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and I was always like, you disgust me. No, she was all right. I should have used her fake last name.
Anyway, it has been a pleasure having you on.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. All right, take care. Have a good one.
Take care.
Okay, good show, Tom.
Good show.
Okay, so I'm going to Google Katie Pellegrino.
And we'll have her on next week.
Buddy.
Glad you're
feeling better. How close are you? Are you think it's done?
What?
How much longer do you have on the antibiotics?
Another like 4 to 5 days.
Okay. It's gonna get you there, you think?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
All right. So we got a show in the can. Good.
All right. Talk to you later.